We are in 1993. Sneakers that are iconic and unobtainable today, unless you spend the double of their price, are on the shelves of the shops. At the time, you could see the brand new running shoes, gym shoes, the new Air Jordans, but also the new tennis shoes like the legendary Stan Smiths, even if their popularity back then was already decreasing, like for us today. At this time, some were already nostalgic for the Superstars, the Sambas, the Puma Suede, the Air Force One, or the Cortez. But something new amidst all this growing nostalgia was about to shake things up. That new model was the Air Max 93, featuring a technology that would change the world of sneakers forever. Hi everyone, it's Arthur Barondi and you're watching Sneakin' Singles. Let's get straight to the point. The Air Max 93 is far from having the historic impact of the Air Max 1, 90 or 97, and yet it's one of Nike's greatest successes, with a technology that has enabled the running shoe range to evolve considerably. Nike, or rather Tinker Hatfield, had succeeded in making its design something original, even strange. But it was also easy to wear and therefore easy to sell. But what made this sneaker such a success? First of all, if you didn't know it, Air Max names like the 90, the 95, or the 97 were all given in the 21st century, and the Air Max 93 is no exception to the rule since it was called the Air Max 270 at the time. And besides, this name was much more logical. In fact, the best known feature of this shoe is its air bubble, which has been made even more visible, with a 35% increase over its predecessor. An air bubble at exactly 270 degrees. This visible air bubble was so revolutionary that wearers were afraid it would burst under their feet. Yes, I know people were a bit stupid back then, but it meant that Nike's marketing was working even better than imagined. The Air Max 93 was more than just an evolution. With the disappearance of the Air Max 180 system and the increased air quantity, it was obviously a much more comfortable shoe. It also featured dynamic fit neoprene, but also some of the technology of the Air Huarache and the Moab, two of Tinker Hatfield's creations. Regarding its shape, it has also changed, looking much more like a sock, with nylon and synthetic leather for the upper and V-flex grooves for the outsole. Retailing at $90 at the time, this shoe adapted to your foot for a more natural look than its predecessors. And if you think that's good enough, consider that other things made it an unforgettable sneaker. In terms of aesthetics, this is the first time Nike has colored the air bubble, which was transparent or white on all previous models. And believe it or not, but it's a real risk-taking move. When you create something, you're always afraid that people won't see the most important thing. And the air bubble was a key selling point. But the bubble isn't simply colored, it's actually the result of a new technological process. Indeed, by teaming up with Tetra Plastics and using a process called blow modeling, Nike will give a shape to the plastic that is in a mold by injecting gas through a tube. And this is what will give color to the air bubble of the shoe. An unusual anecdote about this bubble, it was inspired by the handle of a milk jug. Yes, sometimes inspirations are really strange. Coming back to the pure design, it's totally inspired by the Air Huarache of 1991. In fact, its first color, menthol, refers to the first Huarache colorways. Regarding the colorways, there will be 5 for men, such as the white, menthol, or dusty cactus, the black, which are in fact colors referring to the Air Max 90, and 5 for women, such as the famous laser lime or royal blue, which are more reminiscent of the Air Max 180. For the record, Tinker Hatfield worked with Bruce Kilgore on this Air Max. Yes, he's the designer who created the Air Force One, for those who know. Do you think there are people on Earth who don't know the Air Force One? Joking aside, the presence of these two designers says a lot about the design of the shoe itself. Kilgore was mostly there for the air bubble and Tinker Hatfield for the rest. Also, this is Tinker Hatfield's favorite Air Max, if you didn't know. And that's because this Air Max is the last he'll design, handing the torch to Sergio Lozano, who will design the Air Max 95. Hatfield's inspiration will still be present in the 94, but officially he will no longer be involved in its creation. First of all, if you own a vintage Air Max 93, don't be surprised if it's still in very good condition, because these ones were made in South Korea. And as you'd expect, the materials were ultra strong back then, unlike the Nike shoes that are made in Vietnam today. I'm not saying it's not solid, but we are far from the quality back then. Also, something else has made her even more solid in the eyes of the public. It's her advertising campaign with the SUV brand Land Rover. It's the most surprising and unexplained ad in Nike's history, even more surprising than Spike Lee or Bugs Bunny with Air Jordan. A poster will feature the Air Max 93 next to the Range Rover SUV, comparing the car's suspension system to the Air Max 93's cushioning. Obviously, it's a publicity stunt, but it also helps to emphasize the technology and solidity of the sneaker because the Range Rover in the US embodies this image. This kind of co-branding was crazy, and today, unless it's a collab with many contracts, we don't see that anymore. Runners were intrigued by the Air Max 93, but it never reached the level of its sisters in terms of popularity. This may be explained by the large number of shoes on the market at the time, or by its not so high price, which meant that show-offs didn't want it. That's why, in 1994, this model disappeared from the stores to be replaced by the Air Max 94, then the Air Max 95 a year later. This Air Max revolutionized many things, including the visibility of the air bubble that increased again. But a number of factors will ensure that the Air Max 93 will be around for a long time to come, even today. First of all, the Air Max 93 M&M, a rare pair featuring the elephant print that will be auctioned off in a limited edition of 8 pairs to benefit the Marshall Matters Foundation to help the most disadvantaged people, as well as young people in his home state of Missouri, or its Medals Pack, in collaboration with Size, made up of several pairs that were a great success in 2014. Finally, more recently, we can mention the reissue of the Dusty Cactus in 2018, which totally relaunched a model that had previously been forgotten. Finally, the Air Max 93 is a simple, innovative, high-performance model, and all that makes it timeless. When you wear Air Max 93s on your feet, you feel as if you've got a perfect summary of what the 90s were all about in terms of research and innovation. Today, the model still looks fresh and fashionable to many, and it's also the perfect model for those nostalgic for those years, so symbolic for the world of sneakers.